People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good evening, and I hope you're all well and safe. I'm actually working from home today. I'm taking my lunch break now. Probably, I'm not going to go outside where I am. I'm just going to go to my front door, get some fresh air, get a bite to eat, and make this vid and upload it quickly, and then it's back to work. And I must admit, man, I have to give credit to my employers because they don't play games when it comes to people's health and things. We work hard, we play hard, and yeah, man, like I just from speaking with friends and seeing articles online, some things that has been allowed to happen in society, especially considering this epidemic that's affecting the country I live in England, has been disgraceful. Thankfully, my employers are not them. But we've got some Arsenal things to speak about. Now, I kind of touched on Mkhitaryan in one of my last videos that's uploading. I'm wearing the same stuff because it's on the same day. But since then, I've literally come online on Twitter, and I believe Core Sport, it's a publication out of Italy, so there might be credibility. At the end of the day, it's just a journalist speaking on behalf of a newspaper, so it could be nonsense. But apparently, Roma have opened talks with Arsenal over Mkhitaryan. They have submitted an opening bid of 17 million euros, including bonuses. Didn't they bid 10 million once upon a time? Apparently, though, Roma are still some way off Arsenal's valuation of 24 million. However, there is a willingness from both parties to strike an agreement. And Mkhitaryan, excluding his injuries, has been in relatively decent form in Roma in Italy. Mkhitaryan's a well-travelled individual. He's played for Manchester United and Arsenal, two of the biggest clubs in England. And yeah, that's on your CV. He's won Europa League with obviously Man United. He's played for Dortmund. He's actually, as a young man, spent time in Brazil. So he's very adaptable to country. So the chance to go to Italy, especially the age he's at, where, he might as well be a 20-year-old, because late 30s, early 30s are the new 20s in Italy. So, his career can go on. It's another way of life to experience with his children and wife, assuming he does have children. Actually, don't know if Mkhitaryan does, but either way, Rome's a lovely city. We know there's a serious outbreak of corona right now affecting Italy a lot. Hopefully Mkhitaryan and everybody else stay safe wherever he is, whatever he's doing. But Italy's a beautiful city. A beautiful country. Rome is a beautiful city. Lovely food, cuisine, way of life is what it is. Their manager, Fonseca, forgive me for mispronunciation, he believes in Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan wanted to feel important again. He wanted to feel like a top player again. He wanted to ultimately play first-team football again. These are all things he's been given exposure to from being at Roma. And at the age he's at, he needs to think about his next move correctly. His agent is Mino Raiola, so he's going to get a good deal wherever he goes. But Mkhitaryan strikes me, as well as finances and stuff, he wants somewhere where he can play for the next few years. And, if he carries on his form at Roma, that could be it. His wages could be an obstacle. He might have to concede some. Roma might have to pay over the bank. There might have to be some smart little things. Personally, of course, to get 24 million or something close to Mkhitaryan would be a decent deal, because, he was a free transfer, so there's money to be made. On the flip side of that, considering his wages and things, it's been a very expensive free transfer and it hasn't hit the heights. So there's wages freed up, whether it's not as white and black as this, but if that can, because Mkhitaryan is earning substantial wages here, if that can get taken and put onto Aubameyang's contract offer, if you get Mkhitaryan and Ozil and Lacazette and potentially Sead Kolasinac, players that are contracted for the next year or the next 2 years in relation to 2022 that might not have a future here, freeing up wages. I know Arteta hasn't ruled out using Mkhitaryan, but there's too much uncertainty for me around the team. Uncertainty whether it's young players not fulfilling potential, stagnating, are they good enough, experienced players on top of the obvious contracts. You'd have Mkhitaryan and Ozil, who, are two of the most creative players in the side. Neither have, 10 years left at them, both contracted on heavy wages until 2021. It's a dangerous game to be playing, because we surely can't afford to pay their wages for a year and renew Aubameyang's deal and bring people in again. I don't know for FFP, but we'd be probably going dangerously close to them. If we can get 24 million for Mkhitaryan on top of freeing his wages, it's a good look, people, and that's a good bit of business. And if we can get the Onnenes and other players off, there could be some more funds for Arteta to go harder with. Now, Arteta, he knows coaching is a big part of this role. So if we were to sign, a centre-half, a central midfielder and other positions, but we couldn't get that creative role, Arteta might concede, you know what, Mkhitaryan and Ozil, I'm going to roll with you lot for a year. Or he might bring in Emil Smith-Rowe again after his Huddersfield thing, and then let us revise this either January next year or the following summer. So yeah, man. Based on another report I saw of this same article of Mkhitaryan, another report said the maximum Roma are prepared to go is 20 million, which is almost a halfway point. But have started their end of the talks with an opening offer of 50 million euros plus 2 million in bonuses. So yeah, and that article also says, you know, there's a willingness to get this move done, people. So we'll have to see what happens in relation to that. In relation to incomings, though, I'm pretty sure you've all seen Arsenal have been linked with Matty Longstaff of Newcastle. As you lot know, him and his brother are in contract talks with Newcastle. More so Matty, because maybe not so much this season, but last season he kind of burst onto the scene and things like that. And you know, he's a free transfer, so I don't know if being linked with Arsenal puts pressure on Newcastle to get the renewal done, if it puts pressure on other people he's in for. But I've actually seen, I don't know if there's any legit truth in this, but he's been linked with Arsenal now, Inter Milan, Ajax, Dortmund, Man United previously. These are good big clubs and good clubs and things. And he might concede, yo, I'm a homegrown lad from Newcastle, I might have to keep it moving essentially. For Arsenal, I guess, yeah, he's homegrown. Yes, he's a free transfer, so there's resale value and stuff. And I guess being an English lad, he should know the league. He's 20 years of age as well, so he's got time on his hands. Apparently, he caught Arteta's attention after scoring 2 goals in 7 appearances this season, including obviously the banger against United. So maybe I'm a year off, people. In relation to Arsenal, apparently West Ham and Everton are interested. So there's a lot of interest in a homegrown lad. For Newcastle, be a bit of a pill to swallow to lose Matty Longstaff, because he's a homegrown lad. Clearly someone they want for the future. Would clearly be a bitter pill to swallow to lose him to rivals. And also, if they were to sell him, you know, they've lost some potential money there, to be fair. Always get them mixed up. Sean's the one that made his debut more recently, right? In fact, nah, it's Matthew. I don't know, but either way, there's talk about Sean even having, is it Sean Longstaff, even having cold feet over a deal as well, people. Yeah, Sean Longstaff's 22 years of age. Yeah, man, this guy's the older one, he's the older one. But yeah, it would be silly to lose them. How many appearances has his older brother made for Newcastle? His older brother's contracted until 2022, so there's a bit more time in his regards. His older brother's made 21 appearances, as you know, people, or Newcastle fans better yet. Altogether for Newcastle, he's made 46 appearances. Now let's look at the man who's being linked with us and see how much he has made, the 20-year-old. And obviously, no disrespect to Newcastle, but you'd imagine, obviously, I don't know how much he's on it, but if Arsenal's interest was legit, he can move to London. Obviously, there's the London attraction. Potentially earn better wages at Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal are a long way away from what I'd describe as Arsenal's level of competitive, but we're a dramatically more competitive side than Newcastle, whether the form suggests that or not. But for someone who could be a free transfer, 20 years of age, I don't know if there'll be a tribunal hearing, because typically, I swear, players under the age of 24, if they offer new deals and it's rejected, they're eligible for compensation. The team that's obviously falling victim, eligible for compensation. He's played 7 times this season, people, scoring 2 goals. He didn't play against Arsenal. He played against Man United and scored. He done all right against Chelsea, if I can remember correctly. He's made 13 appearances in total this season, scoring 3. One of them came in the under-23 league, so it's 12 appearances actually, people. For Newcastle in total, he's played 12 times. So yeah, we know what we're getting. Very much a 20-year-old who's very much might have potential but inexperienced. I wouldn't mind it for the squad and things like that. I wouldn't mind him. I don't think he's a bad player, but if we were to bring in midfielders, I'd more want us to go for other players. Obviously, this guy can make me look stupid in a couple of years, and I'm not saying he's a bad footballer, but you look at it, he's 20. I'm not saying Joe's worse or better, but you've got Joe's sort of youngest midfielder there. Guendouzi more experienced, similar sort of thing. You know, you've probably got to keep a space open for the next 18 months for Miguel Aziz, who's not ready this season, might be ready next year, and any other centre mids. I think if we're going to... he's probably ahead of Joe Willock, but I think if we're going to bring in young players like this, they've got to be ahead of, like, dramatically heads and shoulders above what we have. I think he's a Premier League standard footballer. I think he can improve and things like that. And a year from now, I might look silly saying this, but I wouldn't mind it in terms of a free transfer, people. It's not gonna kill anyone. He's 20. He's actually turning 20. Well, no, he's actually just turned 20. It says his birthday is the 21st of March, so he's just turned 20. So yeah, he's got his best days ahead of him. He's a young player. So I'm not going to have anything against it. I mean, there'd be other options I'd go for and whatnot, but it is what it is in that relation, people. You've obviously heard Steve Bruce more or less say it's a concern for Newcastle. Obviously, the longer it goes, as an Arsenal fan, you know, the longer these things go, the more you think he's out the door, and he might have one ear done. He might be gone. The Arsenal interest might not be legit, but, you know, he might want to go to a West Ham where there's London. He might want to go to Everton where there's a bit more of an aggressive spend. He might want to come here and be part of the rebuild. Do you get it, people? And when you see Ajax, I mean, you're going to play Champions League football. You're going to, you know, Ajax is a serious footballing, prestigious sort of club. You get to play Champions League, play for that club. Inter Milan might not be Inter Milan of previous years, but you know what Inter Milan is. Dortmund, playing Champions League football in any capacity. These are things that you might want to go, and also the chance to test yourself abroad. You might be on it, people. Who knows? Who knows? Who actually knows? Apparently, Arsenal's away kit for next season has been leaked. I don't know if you lot can see it, but I'll load it up for you lot. Again, it's not official confirmation and whatnot. In fact, this one's not even showing it, people. This one's not even showing what it looks like, but I don't know if you lot can see. But if you remember that kit, it's an Adidas sort of version of that kit, people. Again, it could just be a concept kit. It could be a legit leak. It could be not. But I think it looked quite decent, people. So I might take a chance on it. On a more serious note, though, people, Arsenal have confirmed they will pay match day and non-match day casual workers on their payroll up until the 30th of April at least, with the situation to be reviewed should there be more suspensions due to the Premier League, you know, the corona pandemic. And I think that's lovely. Arsenal have done it. You've seen Liverpool, Man United, City, couple of individual players, everybody doing something to kind of help people. I see Toby Alderweireld donating tablets or something to hospitals or something, and it's lovely to hear. I know people look at these footballers and say they earn millions and these clubs earn millions. Why aren't they donating more, such as to society? But I mean, just to give back a something is helping. And at the end of the day, nobody could have predicted this. Match day and casual workers, more time they do it. I was that guy. I've done it before. A lot of them are doing them jobs there to supplement a next job as well. Many people are doing that to make up, you know, to get a few extra bobs. Many people rely on that sort of work as well to do what they're doing. And at the end of the day, we're all normal people paying bills. Obviously, clubs, executives, players, they can all soldier. It's still going to hurt if you lose peas and, you know, you might have to watch your pennies a bit more. But more than the average middle-class citizen who's on anything from 18 to 30,000, maybe a bit more a year, you're going to feel this in your pocket if you're not getting money. And at the end of the day, people have bills to pay, people have kids, people have roofs they need to put over their heads. And it's, you know, it's lovely to hear clubs are trying and doing what they can to ease the burden, people. And this is the stuff I'm talking about when we say Arsenal has a touch of class. This is what we do. Vinay on this has said, "We are truly grateful for the outstanding efforts of all our staff across the club every day. These are challenging times for everyone, but in particular our casual workers. This gesture is intended to ease their financial uncertainty." And it's a lot of different people. Like I said, mums that might want to collect extra P's. Other people that can't find full-time work, so they're doing this. A lot of young people. I used to do this at Spurs as well. I used to do Spurs and Wembley and things. And while I'm going to college and that, to earn a few bobs as I'm starting to pay my bills and do my own thing. Do you get it? So you can definitely feel that, people. Can definitely feel it. And it's lovely to hear that Arsenal are doing something in that regards to help someone, man. As you lot know, we've issued a statement. I've said it in my last vid. The training ground's closed. It's going to remain closed, obviously due to what's happening. Arteta has said, "I feel very well now. I feel that I've recovered. It took me 3 or 4 days to start feeling much better and with more energy to leave the symptoms behind. And now the truth is that I feel very well. I had a test done on Wednesday and I was diagnosed on the Friday. Then we had to communicate it to the Premier League. I had tested positive. Obviously, all those who had been in contact with me had to go into quarantine, and subsequently games had to be suspended, of course, because we wouldn't have a team to physically be able to put out there, people." It's quite sad in that regards, really, what has happened. you're seeing a lot of reports come out in relation to the Premier League, people, and I didn't really want to keep speculating because we're going to see a lot of ooming and ahhing, but apparently the BBC Sport has been told by a Premier League source that unless they are blocked from doing so by the government, their intention is to restart the season as soon as practical from the 30th of April. And we'd all love to be back there. Is that behind closed doors? It definitely can't be without fans. Even if Corona goes away tomorrow, it would be irresponsible for all sporting events and venues to just try and continue like normal, because we'd have to test, is it really gone? And there's other things that would need to be done. Of course, I hope it's back on the 30th of April, but is it wishful thinking? You think it's over a month away, things can change? But to me personally, I start to think, why would Nando's close? Why would McDonald's close? Okay, I get it that it's precautionary, but can is the big companies and the governments and all these things, I'm not trying to scare people, but is the worst yet to come? Is there something we don't know? Is there sort of an avalanche sort of thing to come? Is there a calm before the storm, is what I'm trying to articulate to you lot. I'm starting to think that, and I can't blame people for panicking. I don't want them to, but I can't blame people for panicking, because these are the times where it's better to be have than a have not sort of thing. But yeah, it said there's good reason why the government might want that to happen, given in 2016-17 season alone, the Premier League generated 3.3 billion in tax revenue. So yeah, the government might want their taxes, but it said the belief is that after what would then be 7 weeks without top flight games, the country would be ready to watch some high level sport again and would actually benefit from it. We would obviously benefit from seeing our teams, but again, health and safety comes foremost. Whether it's behind closed doors or not, forgive me if I'm wrong, there's still got to be a camera for people to watch it if it's behind closed doors and assuming it's streamed. So someone's got to set up that camera. Someone's got to help set up that camera. How many people are going to touch the cables, touch the lenses and all of these things? There's still got to be linesmen, there's still got to be assistants, there's still got to be the coaching staff and things, there's still got to be stadium staff, there's still going to be security guards. No matter how much you minimise it, until we're over this, it's not really advisable. And this is all assuming players. Obviously, players just want to get playing again. You've heard a lot of them speak. But when you can factor in health, and you can imagine a lot of players are scared now, and you imagine players are probably listening to their family members and health experts as well, but potentially people that aren't more so than ever. Who's to say players will want to get back playing in April the 30th, especially if we're not over this and we've just decided we're going to play behind closed doors and it's been sanctioned, and as a society we're still quarantined, we're still working from home, we're still doing all of these things. Because if I was a footballer, of course my instinct is to get back playing football. Even Deeney's coming out and say the league has to finish. But when you look past that, at the end of the day, I'm a human. You got kids, you got things like that. Do you really want to put yourself at risk? Where it's a thing where, especially where there's symptoms with this thing, but more time there's not. You could go around your family members or friends that immune systems aren't quite as strong as yours or the elderly and do harm and be unknown to you. You don't even know you're spreading it. That's why people shouldn't be linking up in groups and things. But it's crazy. It really is crazy. I don't know what's going to happen in that regards, people. So I'm going to get out of it. I don't think there's anything more to add, but we've spoken about Mkhitaryan, we've spoken about Longstaff, we've spoken about a couple of other things. There's not much to add. I'll just type in Arsenal again on Google, see if anything comes up. I did want to mention that although we can never pronounce his name, our 21-year-old defender who's on loan at Cork City offered some words. He said he's kind of presently surprised by being recognised by fans of Cork City. Obviously, I don't know if he's in London because the article didn't actually say it, but players that are on loan in other countries on a temporary basis, it must be a scary time for them. Imagine being locked abroad. I'm not saying he is, I assume he's back in London, but you're locked abroad, you're a player on loan in a foreign city, you're not allowed to get a flight out of there, you're told to stay in a room. It can be very lonely. So I hope he's alright. Also hope Saliba's alright, because depending on how the season goes, are we going to get Saliba back for pre-season for the next season, or is he going to have to do a thing at St Etienne? I don't know, people. I don't know if I've also mentioned this in previous vids, but you've all seen former Arsenal players and now formerly of FC Sion, Swiss-based team. As a result of not taking wage cuts, I believe either 11 or 14 players have been cut from their roster, people, and 2 of them were former Arsenal players, Johan De Juru and Alex Song, people. So spare a thought for them, because at the end of the day, again, they might be footballers, earning a lot of money or amassed a lot of wealth throughout their career and whatnot. But at the end of the day, first and foremost, they're footballers, so they're not able to do their jobs because they're not employed, and they've all got families. And especially them two, they're at the twilight end of their career. In fact, let's be honest, they are at the end of their careers. Every penny helps. So to lose out on some income is quite sad for them people. So hopefully, not just them, but anyone who's lost their role, lost their jobs, lost their income, been inconvenienced both in football and society, is helped, and we can hopefully get back to being just speaking about actual football, speaking about Arsenal versus City and whatnot, and all of these things. I know I'll probably be sitting there stressed out, but you get the point. On that note though, people, please stay safe, please stay inside, please vote for me to win the Football Content Awards. Links are in the description. Please comment your opinions and anything else. Yeah, until we meet again, people, DG, I'm out.